everyone, and welcome to In the Know 360 show hosted by me, Annette, the warm-hearted warrior diva. This show gives you insights on the journeys of high-achieving business owners and music artists who share with our audience the importance of building a strong community of like-minded individuals on the road to greater success. Today's show is a collaboration between NNO 360 and Miss Leza Money. Miss Leza Money is a certified healthcare instructor, financial educator, author, wealth strategist, and founder of Sterile Processing Universal, SPU, and also SPU Next Level. Lisa has roots firmly planted in the healthcare industry. She started her healthcare career as a certified sterile processing technician. She is a former healthcare professional, healthcare instructor, and IRS Small Business Division tax examiner. I need to get with you after the show. Lisa has over 12 years of entrepreneur experience and is passionate about the healthcare industry and advocating for others, which led her to establish SPU Next Level. Her mission is to empower healthcare professionals and entrepreneurs to reach their financial goals by walking them through real life financial literacy, which focuses on credit, cash flow, retirement planning, and building wealth through her four principles of building wealth, which is credit, structure, cash flow, and assets. Welcome, Miss Leza Money, Cash Money. That's what we're about to talk about.
Yes, that's right. Thank you so much, Annette.
Thank you so much, Queen. I appreciate you coming on board. It looks like we have my usual guest, Miss Lita Red. Thanks for joining. I wish I had popcorn in hand too. Well, enjoy for me. So I have several questions for you. And the first question is, who or what inspired you to start working for yourself?
Well, that is an interesting story. So I wasn't a person who just woke up one day and said, you know what, I want to be an entrepreneur. I actually was forced into it. When I was working in healthcare, I got injured at an early age. I was very young. And my employer at the time didn't want to give me my workman's comp. And I couldn't get unemployment. And so I was in a situation where I wasn't able to provide for my family. And so those who can't do, they teach. And that's kind of how I got started in my journey of entrepreneurship because I was forced into it because I actually lost my career as a technician at that time.
Oh, I'm so sorry to hear that. And so they didn't even compensate you or anything of that sort.
No, so those people I had to sue. So it was a 2-year lawsuit. I had 3 surgeries behind my injuries, and I had 3 small children at the time. And so I just had to figure it out because you know what we do as moms and women, we're going to get it together. So I decided to start my own business. I knew the industry. And the one thing that I did know when I first started as a technician, I had tried to get a program to teach me how to do it. And the program it really wasn't good at all. Like they didn't teach me anything. They just gave me a textbook and said, read the chapter. So I'm like, I don't have to pay for that. I could do that on my own. So when I decided to teach, I said, you know what? I've had some bad experiences with the educational side. So why don't I become the change in that area of the industry for the new people coming into sterile processing?
Wow, wonderful. Kudos to you. That's for sure. Wow, that's amazing. I'm glad that you did that. And can you recall the exact moment that you knew you wanted to pursue this entrepreneur journey? I know you said from the injury, and then like when did you say, you know what, I've had enough?
Well, actually, the first thing that happened was I had a friend that also worked in the industry, and he started his first company teaching as well. And he asked me to come on board and say, you know what, I'll pay you to teach and start training the individuals. And at that time, I had no experience doing training. And so me and him did that for a little while, and I was getting paid under the table, just make sure I had some money in my pocket. And then our dynamics changed in that scenario. So I decided, you know what, I could do this myself. I can teach it. I
Mhm.
can run the business because I had been with him for a couple of years and I had learned the business. And I said,
Right.
you know what, I think I can do it myself. But honestly, I didn't have the confidence, right?
Mhm.
Because I was new and wasn't empowered to do it. But I had made a lot of connections and networking while I was
Mhm.
working with his business. And those individuals, some strategic people, they encouraged me and they said, you know what, you're doing it anyway. You're teaching, you're running things. Why can't you do your own business? And that was the moment that I said, you know what, you're right. I can do this. So
Mhm.
I'm going to just kind of transition from being a helpful person over here in this business to now I'm your competition. So that's how that works.
Okay, all right. I ain't mad at you. What challenges have you faced during your journey in becoming an entrepreneur?
Lots and lots of challenges. I think the first thing was lack of funding and
Mm,
also lack of knowledge.
okay.
When I, like I said, I learned things about the business under that scenario with my partner at the time, but
Right.
it's different from when you're working with somebody else, then you taking on everything, right? And it
Mm-hmm.
wasn't a scenario of everything that we were doing at the time was actually accurate and on point. We were just kind of flying from the seat of our pants.
Mm.
So when I had to do it for myself, I knew a few things, but things like systems, having certain systems in place and communicating with the clients outside of me just teaching. And it was like a lot of things to learn. And I had a huge learning curve.
Right.
And I lost a few clients through that learning curve. And I also,
Oh.
some people stayed with me and rock with me. So I have
Mhm.
lasting relationships. So some of my clients, like from 8 years ago, are still contacting me
Mhm.
because of the relationships that I built. So those are some of those challenges. And then the financing side, I actually started my business because I crashed my car up. And that was another, like, how
Mm.
to start this business. And the company sent me $2,000 to get a new car to kind of pay me
Mhm.
out. And
Mhm.
I made a decision at that time that either I'm going to put this down on a new car, or I'm going to start my business. And I chose to fund my business with that 2000 and just kind of
Mhm.
go from there.
Oh, wow. And if I may ask, what made the people, or I guess previous consumers with you, depart? Like,
Well, I mean, it's just lack of experience at the time because, like I said, I wasn't able to do the a lot of the back end stuff with the first company. I did a lot of stuff on like the marketing and that kind of front end side of things, and he
gotcha.
handled most of the back end stuff. So
Uh,
when I'm trying to do both, people fell through the cracks, and that's just being honest.
yeah.
And so I wasn't able to provide at that time the amount of service that they
Mhm.
deserved because I just
Uh,
was trying to learn.
gotcha. Gotcha.
Yeah.
Well, we got that squared away, I'm sure, down packed
Yes.
now.
Now we're good. Yes.
Right. How have you persevered despite these challenges?
Honestly, it's my kids and my family,
Mm,
right? Because what are you going to
right.
do as an entrepreneur? Because of my injuries, even though most people are like, you don't look like anything's wrong on paper, I'm not
Yeah.
supposed to work at all, to be honest. And so for me to go
Mm,
back to work wasn't an option. And
mm,
when you don't have an option, a lot of times entrepreneurship sometimes comes out of a need, right? I
yeah.
need to work, I have to do something, and I have to be able to do it on my own terms. So
Mm,
whenever things got challenging, I just had to remember that going back to the hospital and the healthcare was just not an option for me. So I had to do what I had to do.
mm. Wow. Yeah, it's your why. I get it. And the
Mm,
kids come, family come first. So I understand.
yeah.
Um, what was the best product or service that you provided and why?
Well, that's a tricky question, but what I'll say is the one that I've provided the longest
Hmm.
is so my first company, Sterile Processing Universal, is a healthcare education firm, and that's where I actually teach people to transition from whatever careers that they're in into the
Hmm.
healthcare industry.
Okay.
And I've seen a lot of impact because at first I'm like, oh, I'm just teaching somebody how to do this, but I realized over the years that the clients are making a change in not just their career, but that affects their entire life, right?
Mm,
And so being a part of that change and that transition at a time where they need the help is something that made me feel good. It was like
mm,
empowering me to keep moving forward. That
yeah.
being said, even with my other business, I still feel like the impact that I have on clients and their lives in total is
Mhm.
something that kind of keeps me going.
Wow. And so through that process, have your clients said, hey, wow, this is a new method? I didn't know I could do it this way or that way. Have you received feedback like that to like streamlining the process or something?
Yes. So what I did do, like I said, my first experience in the education side of healthcare wasn't that great. And so when I put my program together, so I wrote my program myself. And when I
Mm,
put it together, I had the client in mind. Now, that being said, things have changed over the years. We've had, the pandemic. So I've had to make a lot of adjustments. So those are also challenges that I had to overcome with the business. And being able to make it as user friendly from an
mhm.
online space, because I used to do in person a lot. And so that part was a bit of a challenge for me, but people actually tend to like it. So what I decided to do was I went from a classroom, like say 15 people in a room setting, to a one-on-one coaching model with that business that gave people that personal experience, so they still could feel like they're not getting lost in a Zoom or something like that.
Oh, okay. Well, that, I like that one on one instead of having a group of 15 because you need that personable time with the instructor to answer questions, if you will.
Yeah,
It's kind of like going into the university and it's like 100 students in an auditorium, and
yeah,
that could be overwhelming for sure.
exactly. The flip side though is you can't run when I ask a question because I'm asking you. So
You know what? But that's good though. You get to pick the person's brain and see if they actually know the process that was taught. So
there you go.
very true. I have a question about is there a difference between the sterile processing universal SPU and the versus the SPU next level? And
Yeah.
what's can you elaborate on that?
Yes, ma'am. So there's definitely a difference. So Sterile Process Universal SPU was my original company that I just spoke about. And what I realized through the years was that there's also a need for the next level of education, right?
Hmm,
So
okay.
SPU Next Level was kind of built on the back of Sterile Processing Universal. And because I'm an entrepreneur and I've worked in healthcare for my entire career, I kind of speak to both worlds where I'm saying, listen, guys, you're making the money, let's say for healthcare professionals,
Hmm.
you're making money, right? I was there to make good money, had good benefits, but what was
Right.
I doing with my money? How was I utilizing it to secure a
Mm.
future for my children and my grandchildren? And at the time, I
Mhm.
wasn't thinking about that because I just wanted a new car. I was just kind of spending my money. And as an entrepreneur, I've learned some things in terms of, like I said, learn that learning curve and
Uh-huh.
the resources that I did not have in the beginning that I've
Mhm.
accumulated in the partnerships. I wanted to be able to bring that to new entrepreneurs or even people that are existing that didn't have certain resources. So
Right.
SPU Next Level kind of speaks to both worlds where we're saying, listen, whether you're an entrepreneur or a healthcare professional,
Mhm.
you're making money however you're doing your active income, but let's
Right.
start to secure ourselves financially so we can really have financial freedom and
Mhm.
utilize our businesses as our assets, right? It's bringing in some money, but what are we going to do with it so that if
Right.
something like what happened to me, I was 32 when I had that
Mm.
injury. And at 32 years old, who's thinking about retiring or not working? Like nobody thinks like that. So if
Right.
I had have had some systems in place and some
Mhm.
financial education at the time, I
Right.
able to kind of step into a situation where I wasn't scrambling for cash. And that's kind of what I want to
Mm.
be able to do for the people that I help now to say, look, all right, guys, you learned how to do sterile processing. You learn how to do, you're a nurse, you're a doctor, doesn't matter. You got money. How
Right.
to protect yourself, right? Or you're an entrepreneur, you're a speaker, whatever you do,
Uh-huh.
how are you going to protect yourself down the line? And
Right.
especially with the economy being so crazy.
Hmm. For sure. Yes. And I love that twofold. You get your money for buy. It's all in one package, rather.
Yeah.
Got tongue twisted there. Uh, so, name three entrepreneurs, right, or companies that you would love to collaborate with.
That's a tricky one. So I do have a couple of collaborations on the horizon.
Okay.
So like I said, I like to bring resources to the clientele and to the community and around financial education. So one of the
Mhm.
companies that I am partnering with actually this week, knock on wood, is going to be Smart Finance, which is a host of financial technology
Okay.
that will allow anybody, any person who's looking to, whether it's fix your credit or help you with debt management, legal
Mhm.
issues, like so many things in this suite that I want to partner with so I can help people. Another person I would like to partner with, and I'm also on the horizon. They call him Crypto Rick, but Ricardo, he's an
Okay.
influencer on social media, also known as MIMS, MIMS, and so we're in talks about partnering as well. And he does a lot of things in the economic space with crypto, gold and silver, and stuff like that.
Mhm.
And then also on the healthcare side, I'm also looking for hospitals and facilities that could
Mhm.
provide externships where they're getting volunteer work for
Mm.
their departments, and then the clients are getting the hours that they need for certification. So there's a few different arenas where I could use some collaboration.
Yes, I love it. I love it. I like your forward thinking. I'm very interested in how these two partners come to, what the outcome will be in the future. So we'll be having another part two after this show. You know that, right?
Okay, yeah, I'm here for it. Exactly.
So can you tell the audience who is Leza Money? Can you elaborate more about yourself?
Um, yeah, so I'm just I'm from Philadelphia. So I'm just a girl from Philadelphia, now living in Atlanta. And I am a mother, a daughter, and I am a new Mimi. So I have a granddaughter,
Oh.
and she is 11 months. And I'm a person who just needs to get stuff done. It just has to happen. I don't really take too many excuses. Ask my kids, they don't like that. And I'm just a person that I've been in certain situations, and I really just wish
Mm.
that I had help and some
Yeah.
assistance that I just didn't have. And for me, I like to help others because I want to be the change that I did not have and I want to see.
Mm.
So I like to eat. I'm a vegan, but I like to eat. So that's another thing. So I could tell you a million things about myself, but I'm really just a woman that wants to share information. I understand from certain perspectives, like as an entrepreneur, as a woman, how things can be perceived. You're out
Mhm.
working. I'm working 7 days a week, and so I have that soft spot, I guess,
Mm.
for other women entrepreneurs and entrepreneurs in general.
Yes, well, no doubt. And we met in a Vest Fest.
Right.
Everyone listening, look, I went to it, she had like a princess outfit on. I was like, oh, okay, what's going on over here?
Yeah, you gotta
You,
flash that picture up. Yeah.
you want to tell them what it was about a little bit?
Yes. So one of the things that I was able to do through my journey is I had mentors, right? And so one of my mentors was at InvestFest, and their theme was Bridgerton. So if you're familiar with Bridgerton, you know what that looks like. And we were all dressed up in Bridgerton costumes because I was volunteering for them that day. And so yes, I had on the princess tiara and the long gloves and things that I do not wear because I'm like a t-shirt kind of girl. But yeah, it was fun though because it
Yes.
attracted everybody. It was a little bit different, but the whole theme was royalty. Like
Mhm.
black royalty, and Bridgerton kind of speaks to that. So that's why we were dressed like that.
Yes, I love it. They had a violinist there. I mean, you guys were just doing the whole bit of royalty for sure.
Yeah, it was fun.
Yeah. What do you consider to be your greatest strengths as a business owner?
Um, Honestly, critical thinking.
Okay.
Which sometimes is not as prevalent these days, but being able to kind of think your way out of situations, because being an owner, you are the one responsible for whatever
Hmm.
the outcome is, right? Good or bad. And so just being able to think through the process, problem solve, as well as new ideas, right? Because one of
Yeah.
the things we thrive on is being able to innovate. And
Hmm.
with the changes, especially with the economy and stuff like that, you got to be able to pivot. So,
Yeah.
like I said, when I mentioned about the pandemic, a lot of businesses had to change a whole lot in a very quick
Mm.
time in order to survive. And if
Right.
you're not able to kind of think through that process, you might not make it.
Hmm.
So I think that was like one of the main things. Other than that, just being willing to listen and take counsel from other business owners.
Hmm.
I think sometimes when you're in your own bubble and you're doing your own thing, you
Right.
don't see things as clearly as somebody else can point out to you.
Hmm. Which leads me, I know that you said that you have mentors. Do you have like a go-to person too, like in a nick of time to answer, like one of those call this 800 number in case of an emergency? That person
Um,
knows it.
yeah, so I do have a core group of entrepreneur friends. One of those, a couple of those people were the ones who actually way back when encouraged me to start my own business when I couldn't see it
Oh,
for myself, and I've been able to maintain a lot of those relationships. And so there are a few people in my group that I will call 24/7, like, listen, this just happened. What do you think? And they can do that with me too, because as
yeah.
entrepreneurs, we got to kind of come together and have
Mhm.
these conversations because we have unique situations that somebody else may not understand if they're not in that same kind of a journey.
Mm. Very true. Look, that you're speaking my language. It's one of those things. It gets kind of lonely at times, right?
Yeah, definitely does. Especially if you're in a situation where the people in your immediate family or friend circle aren't really entrepreneurial minded and they don't understand some of the decisions that you make. And sometimes that could be hard for you as an entrepreneur and lonely.
Yes, for sure.
Yeah.
So, what steps do you take when preparing for a new product or service?
Well, the first thing is I always remember what one of my mentors said. I mean, business in general is finding a problem and creating a solution, right? And
Hmm.
so
Yeah,
I'm always looking within my scope of work, what I do, whether it's healthcare or on the financial side, what
right.
is the need? Especially with financial education, like where is that lacking? And then how can I deliver that service or that resource in the most palatable way? Because nobody really wants to sit
Yeah.
around and talk about finances all day. Like, doesn't sound fun. But how can you create a vehicle that says, okay, it may not be the best topic in the world, but it is the most important because it affects every aspect of your life. So, what can I do to make you want to be a part of that information and learn about it? So, that's kind of what I do.
Well, if you say, "Hey, I can get your cash flow going," then they're like,
Yeah,
"Oh, okay,
that'll perk you up. Yeah,
right,
let me let you
right.
know.
What can I do?
Yeah, definitely.
Be that multi-millionaire."
There you go. Billionaire these days. All right,
Yeah,
everybody's
that's true. Yeah, let's shoot for the stars. Billionaire.
exactly.
That is so true. Gosh.
Mhm.
I tell you, money or food, right? It's either the two.
Exactly.
So I know we kind of touched on, being solo or having teammates. And the question is, do you like working solo or would you prefer a team and why?
So, I prefer solo. However, as I know and I've learned the hard way, you can't do everything all by yourself. And in order to really propel your business, you need a team of people to handle certain things. So, for my advice to other entrepreneurs, get a team for sure. But yes, I have been that solopreneur and I was doing that for many years. And yeah, I learned that I could have been a lot further faster if I had a couple people on my team. So yes, now I'm a team player. Now I am a team player.
Yeah, but I feel you on
Yeah.
that note because it's I don't know if it's a Leo thing, but you tend to you know your way and you know your process and it's faster in my mentality. It's like it's faster for me to just do it and get it done and be over and done with it, and instead of waiting for Susie to come bring me the part of
Yeah.
the project.
Exactly. And then you have to explain to Susie what you meant. And it's like, oh no, you got it wrong. We gotta do it again. Like in my mind, I've thought the same way. Like I already know what I want, but trying to convey that to you and then you get it and then you go execute. That's a whole nother time frame. I don't got time for. But it's in the long run, it's for the
I
best.
know. Yeah, that's so true. Teamwork makes the dream work. And what I found out is that you know how they say go out and find your tribe. You don't need to find your tribe because your tribe will find you. That's
Yeah,
what I'm starting to learn doing
that's
this
true.
entrepreneurship thing.
That is true. People will start to show up that whoever you need and you're looking for, if you stick to your true to your journey, like people just show up. I've had that happen. Like, look how we met. Like, I'm like, oh, I want to be on the
Right.
podcast, and then all of a sudden I meet you, and like, oh, I want a podcast. Like, it's great. So you just got to keep the faith, right?
So true. Spoken like a champ because it's like you don't know the unknown, right? The universe knows the unknown, but we
Exactly.
want to hurry it up, and we're so eager to be in this fast lane, but we know we have to slow it down sometimes because maybe maybe the cake hasn't baked yet properly, right? So you have to wait that time frame, and it's patience is definitely a virtue.
Yeah, that's
So,
something I'm lacking, but yes, it is.
I can relate. So think back to a situation when it was difficult to meet a project deadline for your business.
Ugh.
What did you learn from that experience?
Um, I guess better time management and teamwork is what we need. Teamwork makes the dream work. So a lot of times if I fail to meet a deadline, it
Right.
was usually because I've taken on too many things myself.
Mm,
And so I had to prioritize. So it depends on what the project was, but I'm looking at like 10 projects and I'm prioritizing
mm,
which ones I can get done faster. And
mm.
if one does kind of slip behind on timeline, I'm like, okay, me personally, I would just be up 24/7 trying to get it done if it needed to be done, like no sleep, no nothing, drinking
No.
coffee,
Right.
doing what I got to do so it's done. Because in my mind, when it's done, it's done. Just get the project done. But that's not the most efficient way to work and not sustainable. So
Right.
if that team was there, they could have took on a couple of those. I could have delegated to some of them projects and I could have
Uh-huh.
focused on the most important. So yeah, it's just more kind of from the grit. I would just get it done. But I have learned that I do need to be smarter about how I work around with other people.
Yes, it's so true. I'm learning that past couple of months now, past month.
Yeah.
You can only handle what you can handle.
Exactly. And then don't feel guilty if you know something has to wait for a little bit longer. Because I used to feel guilty too. Like I didn't get everything
I
done,
know.
But it's like realistically, it wasn't all gonna get done. So
I know. And then you sit back and you're like, you know what? That's good that I had to space it out because the quality of it, right? So the quality of your service decreases when you try to do like multiple stuff at once. So
yeah, exactly.
definitely, people say, "Oh, I'm multitasking." There's no such thing as
No such
multitasking.
thing as multitasking. Yeah, something's gonna suffer. Some
Yeah,
yeah,
that's so true. And you definitely need me time for sure.
yes, that's also a challenge as an entrepreneur, right? Because you could work all the time if you really wanted to. It's like, well, where's the time for yourself? I've suffered from that too. Even to this day, I don't do as much as I should for myself because I'm like, oh, it's Sunday at 8 o'clock at night. I gotta finish this last thing. That's me.
Look, I said I haven't been to the store in a minute, right? Because I'm always like glued to the computer. So I went to Target. Why did I go to Target to get a mental break? And I was like, you know what? This feels good. I haven't been to the store in a while.
That's a shame, but I get it. I totally get it. Like that's the trip out. Yep.
I was like, oh, look at this. This is so cute. But anyway, yeah, doing the shopping thing, that was because it was always grocery shop. I don't like grocery shopping, but like just going to Target or whatever, just relaxing your brain,
Yeah.
it really does help.
Yes, this is true.
Um, so share an experience illustrating how your communication style makes you an effective business owner.
Well, I am pretty straightforward, which gets the point across. Not necessarily everybody like it, but I do kind of just say what needs to happen and it happens. In terms of like an illustration of that, when I first started, maybe about a year into my business, my
Mhm.
mother had started working with me. And that was an interesting dynamic because I'm the boss and mom was my assistant. And she thought she was the boss because she was mom. And so I had to kind of work through the communication with her. And I had to be direct, like, I love you, mom. This is great, but I'm going to need you to do what I need you to do when I need you to do it. Because, mom will be like, oh, I'm going to do this later and get on the phone with her friends and start talking. And I'm like, but the project isn't done. So I had to learn that yes, I can be direct, but I have to deliver it in a way that mom will accept and understand so that we
Yeah.
can move forward without any weird ruffly feathers or anything. And it wound up working out in the long run because she decided, she's like, okay, you're right. I got to respect your position and all of that. But
Oh.
it's a learning curve for communication as well, because how you're speaking to one person and to another can be different. Same message, but how you deliver it is different. And as an instructor, I learned that early on as well, because if you got a room full of people, they all have to get the same message and they all learn differently. So being able to adapt your message, I kind of, in that setting, I'll restate the statement or the question in a few different ways. I give
Mhm.
examples, real world examples, so people can understand it from different perspectives.
I love it. I love it. I have to tell my son, it's your delivery. It's not the content.
Yes,
it's
yes.
the,
My
it's
mom
just
used
the,
to say you can get more bees with honey than with vinegar. I'm like, okay, okay.
yeah. He's such a cool, loving guy, but it's just, and I blame it. Don't take this the wrong way, Sagittarius. No, no, he's straight to the point. So
Mhm.
I definitely, but I respect that about him.
Yeah.
Can you share with us a memorable moment in your entrepreneur journey? And also, what did you learn from it?
A memorable moment. I think one of the things that I've definitely learned, as I mentioned earlier, that I'm impacting people's life, right? And I didn't
Right.
really understand on what level, because I'm just, to me, I'm just teaching something, I'm sharing information. But I've had, like, one time I had a client, and she was having some health challenges, and in my
Mhm.
program we talk about a little bit of everything, and I talk about healthy living and all of that.
Right.
And she called me and she said, I'm having this problem, and my doctor is saying that there's nothing that they can do, and I thought about you, can you help me? And I'm
Mhm.
sitting there thinking, why are you asking me this? And she said, well, I feel like you're my mentor and you got knowledge about certain things, and I trust what you say. And
Mhm.
so I did. I was like, okay, I'm gonna give you some information. I'm not a
Mhm.
doctor, but I'm gonna tell
Mhm.
you what, if it was me, what I would do. And
Okay.
she actually did exactly what I told her to do. And then fast forward a couple of months later, she was perfectly fine. Everything was great. Her doctor couldn't believe it. And it made me realize
Oh,
that when I'm teaching, even though, like, I purposely insert extra information that, like, about health and stuff like that, which I don't have to do, but
yeah.
I'm just kind of delivering it, but people are actually listening to me
Mhm.
and looking at me as a mentor or something like that. And I didn't really see myself like that. But when
Yeah.
that situation happened, I was like, oh wow, like, and then when they graduated, her and the rest of her classmates, they gave me a plaque, and it was like a whole thing that they presented to me. And I was like, it's your
Wow.
graduation. But it just made me see that, yeah, what I'm doing is actually an impact
Mhm.
on people, and I have to take that very seriously.
Wow. That is a memorable moment, most definitely. It's really interesting because one thing that you're trying to focus on and training people is probably just the minutia, right? It's the minutia to the overall well-being of an individual. And you brought that to light just by how you are and your habits and you, like you say, your healthy living.
Yeah, thank you.
So most definitely. I need to tap in with you later. Um, how do you stay motivated after so many years as an entrepreneur?
Actually, because in my sterile processing universal, honestly, at a certain point, especially during the pandemic, I kind of got disenchanted with the healthcare industry, and so I was just
Mm,
like,
yeah.
I wasn't as excited. And with SPU Next Level, being able to kind of put another spin on it and say, listen, here's another angle where I can still help people. That
Right.
actually helps me stay motivated, because I can now bring both worlds together and help even more people than just, someone who wants to become a technician. That's great. But there's another level here, and being able to create products for that, speak about that, because I do speaking engagements, things like that. That kind of keeps me motivated to see the transition in people's lives with that as well. And then, of course, I got my new grandbaby, so she keeps me motivated because I got to buy her stuff. So,
Oh,
yeah, I want to be able to provide for her what
mhm,
I wasn't able to provide for my children at the time, because I didn't have
mhm,
the information and the knowledge. And so that kind of keeps me on the financial side, motivated to keep
mhm.
learning and to keep adding things to show to people.
I love it. Definitely.
Mhm.
So, what is the first thing that you look for when creating your business brand and service?
Um, Honestly, the first thing I'm looking for is it something that I feel as though I can deliver, like really understand and deliver the product or the service in a way that's going to be acceptable by people, right? Because
Uh-huh.
I can have all this information in my head and want to put it out there, but if I can't deliver it properly, then maybe I shouldn't be the person to give that message, right? Because
Mhm.
nothing that I'm saying is like I didn't make it up brand new, like isn't the first thing anybody ever thought of, but it's all in my style. And
Mhm.
so if I can't provide it and kind of get it out there in my own style,
Yeah.
then it's not for me. So I kind of look at it as, is there a need? Is it something that I actually can provide? And is it
Mhm.
something that I feel comfortable that I'm able to do in my own way that people will resonate with?
Mm. Yeah, that's so true. I mean, it's one of those things where, like you said, comfortability and knowledge on the subject, right?
Mhm.
And probably it's not even just the content itself. I think it's the experience and the growth that you, as you educate yourself on that specific subject, then you can get good at. But then it's like, am I passionate about it? Right? Is this what I want to do for the rest of my life?
Yeah. Like, can I really talk about this all day, every day? Like, if I can't and I don't want to, because I'm a rambler, the people like, Lisa, stop talking. But if I can't do that about a subject, then I don't want to deliver it because it's like
Right?
I'm not passionate about it. So yeah.
Ah, so true. It's like those MLM stuff, and I'm like, oh no. I mean, the money sound good,
Yeah,
but
that's right.
ah, boy. So, what's one important lesson that you've learned working for yourself?
Um, that you have to be disciplined, right? Because it is a different mindset. You don't have a quote unquote set schedule. You kind of you
Right.
have the freedom, and sometimes too much freedom can be like not that good because I was used to a very rigid schedule, right? And so I had to learn that number one thing is I had to be disciplined because if I don't get up and do it, who's gonna do it, right? I don't
Yeah.
have a you got to kind of when you're doing your own thing, if you kill it, you got to eat it, that's it. If you're not killing anything, you're not eating this month. So you have to always be on point, always have your time management on point. So for me it was discipline in my time management, being able to fit everything in because I still had a
Right.
family,
Yeah.
still had kids, got to go to school and stuff like that.
Right.
So I think that was like one of the biggest things.
Mm. Do you have like a certain routine every day that you do?
So yes and no. I do have a time frame. So for me, my work day starts at 10 a.m. Now that being said, it can end at 10 p.m. or 11, 12, 1, doesn't matter, but it starts at 10.
Okay.
I get up at 6 and I decided that for myself, I want to make sure that I have enough time. Like we talked about earlier, like self-care. For me,
Yeah.
it's going for a walk or exercising, listening to certain motivational
Mhm.
videos. And I just couldn't, I mean, at first I was like, well, it's my day. I can do what I want. And 2 o'clock in the afternoon, I want to listen to a motivational video or read a book, but somebody's calling me about business. It didn't work out. Right. So I had to make sure I had business hours and my time had to be around that. So now it's kind of between 6 and 10. That's my 4 hours to do whatever it is I want to do. Right. Whatever it
Nice.
looks like. After that, it's phones are on, business is on, getting on my laptop and going from there.
I love it. Yeah, definitely need a structure because, like you said, like, oh shoot, it's 2 o'clock. I'm trying to get motivated. Where my coffee?
Yeah, exactly. Well, it's time to start now.
Right? It's game time. I'm trying to catch up with how many hours that I lost. But yeah,
Yeah. I had to learn the hard way.
for sure. Thank you for that tidbit. But yeah, I definitely agree. So, if you weren't an entrepreneur, right, what would you be doing?
Well, I guess in my case, if I never got injured, I'd probably be a director somewhere in a hospital or something and living like that. And my dream was to retire to an island, so maybe I'll be working on an island somewhere in the healthcare.
Oh, okay. What island were you thinking?
I didn't have one at the time, but right now I'm looking at Belize, which isn't technically an
Ooh,
island, but it's islandy enough for me. So I am looking to the next few years kind of move down there.
okay. Wow. No, look, overall health is very important. And
Mm.
I can't stress that enough. And we go through so much here
Yeah, we
that
do. And I love
it's,
the water. The water is peaceful for me.
yes, you definitely need water for sure. I love the beach too. So I was like wonder what island she's talking about. So one day I want to go to Turks and Caicos or
Oh,
what
yes.
is it? Maldives. I've never been to Maldives. So
Yes, I would love to do that. So I haven't been to either one, but those are on my bucket list as well because I grew up kind of traveling to islands, but I haven't been to like Mallorca. There's a few places I want to try.
nice. I'm excited for you. At least I'll know someone in Belize and I can hey
You come on
hey
down.
right. I'll bring my laptop with me.
Bring your
You're
laptop. I'm gonna have
you're
mine too. We'll be sitting there doing our work together on the beach
right at 10 o'clock. But before
at 10
then,
o'clock.
right.
Exactly.
So how has the internet and social media influenced your career, your entrepreneur business?
Well, honestly, prior to the pandemic, I think say it didn't influence it because obviously social media is a big influence. I do find clients through social media, but I'm really not big on social media, and I'm kind of trying to get out my shell nowadays. But for most of my time, I really wasn't present like I should have been. But with the pandemic and everything, I had to switch over to online,
Hmm.
and so now it is very much present in my business now. I do everything through online and social media, and just kind of building my presence on social media a little bit heavier. That's all.
So true. But then that invest fest, then it help like get that social dynamic out of you because I really enjoyed it. I really just enjoyed
Yeah,
meeting people
be
and
in
like
person.
minded, you know?
And I miss that too. So I like going to events like that, simply because that is an element that we don't always have as we used
Yeah.
to anymore, and that nothing beats belly to belly. Being able to kind of touch, talk, and feel people and feel the energy.
Yeah.
We do things online, we're used to it, but yeah, I kind of miss being in person. I do have people that ask, "Oh, are you doing in person classes?" Like, no, not right now, but you know what, social media and the internet, that's the future. Technology is the future, so you gotta, as a business owner, you gotta kind of run with it.
Yeah. That's true, especially our kids growing up, they're gonna now before it was, get your degree, go to get a 9 to 5 job, job,
Mm,
and then you're set. Now I'm teaching my son like, look, start drawing your art, and let's go ahead and put this out like on a t-shirt or whatever,
yeah,
because at the end of the day it's all digital. It's it, AI, everything online. So
yeah.
definitely it's a different mindset from when I was growing up, for sure.
Me too. For sure, for sure. Me too. But yeah, that's great advice for your son. And for anybody out there, even if it's your own business, have your
Hmm.
kids involved. I have my
Hmm.
children involved in my business as well, to give them that experience of what it is like to have your own business. What are some of the responsibilities and challenges, so that when they get older, they can make a decision for themselves, but giving them another option, right? Because, like you
Hmm.
said, back in the day, it was, this is the pretty clear path of what we want you to do: go to school, get a job, then retire on 40% of your income. That's a whole nother conversation. But that's why I say, like, right now, the next level is you got to do it for yourself. And there's
Hmm.
ways and strategies that we can teach our children. Financial education starts with us. But if
Yeah.
we're not well educated on that subject, how do we teach our children? And what will they do? They're going to wind up repeating the same cycle. So I love the fact that you are encouraging your son to
Hmm.
start his own business. Like, why not?
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
what's going to happen if nothing else happens? He's got the experience and he's learned a lesson, right?
Exactly. And also the lesson of ramen noodles, mac and
Sacrifice.
cheese, right? Because like it's like, oh, DoorDash, we have DoorDash, or we have like, oh, mom, can you just order Chipotle, or can you go get a hibachi grill? I'm like, son, this month's kind of tight. So we're gonna have to eat some ramen noodles this way. He was like, wait, hold up. What had happened?
Yeah,
I'm
that's called
like,
building character.
and and then the kids get used to it. You have to like sometimes take them out of the comfort zone for what they're used to. And he's like, Mom, I didn't realize this. I'm sorry for spending all your money on Chipotle or whatever. Like, yeah, because the light bill need to get paid.
That's right. That's right. And that experience is invaluable, right? Because they don't know until you show them. Like, this is real world stuff here. DoorDash doesn't just come from nothing. You got to pay for that stuff, and that stuff adds up. All them fees, like, come on.
I know. And then you got a tip. If you don't do a good
Yeah.
tip, they're gonna be like,
Yeah. Where's
I
my
know
tip?
that house. And you don't want
Exactly.
that rep.
No, no, no. That's right. Or like, look, son, you can go in and cook some food. That's an old
Yeah.
idea. Like, let's go cook
Uh-huh.
something.
I got my air fryer. You know how to turn that on.
There
Look,
you go.
it's like, okay, I need to go check and see what's in the in the freezer. But yeah, sometimes life happens, and you just have to. I'm like, you feel my pain because this is what I used to go through.
That's right.
I tell you, we want the best for our kids, but sometimes I feel like it's probably a disservice, of us enabling that kind of luxury, if you will.
Yeah, I totally agree. Because sometimes you have to have that life experience because when we're not around, they have to be able to survive on their own, right? And so
Yeah.
I believe, yeah, give them a more realistic view sometimes of this is what it takes in order. If you want that lifestyle of just ordering Uber Eats and DoorDash, you can do that, but that takes
Right.
some work behind the scenes so you can afford it.
Yeah. You got to pump out that drawing, whatever you're going to
Some
draw.
t-shirts out there. Yeah,
Yeah, that's what I mean.
exactly.
So, if you could change anything about the business world, what would it be?
Um, I think the only thing that I can think of would be for seasoned entrepreneurs to be more accepting and open to kind of help and take under their wing new entrepreneurs, and giving them information. Like I said, I was fortunate enough to have a few to do that for me, but there were plenty of other ones that wouldn't even have a conversation with me because I wasn't on their level or,
Oh,
whatever that might
no.
be. But I feel like one of the things that we should do is have some type of mentorships for entrepreneurs, and they may not can't afford to pay a lot, because they're
Right.
new in the business, but kind of paying it forward. If you've made it, you've been able to be successful. Sharing your knowledge is worth more than anything else to me.
Yeah, that's so true. And so everybody can win. I mean, I'm all for that.
Mhm.
Where do you find your inspiration?
Um, Life, like I just,
Right? Tell me
um,
about it.
because of my industry, I because of the economics and things that are happening, it's like right in your face. Inflation is crazy, so I don't have to look very far to be motivated to kind of get people educated. Like, look, guys, we got to
Right.
pay for these eggs. These eggs is expensive right now. Like, how are we going to do that? So let me show you how to do that now and 10 years from now. So my
Right.
motivation comes from what we see every day in the world, right?
Yeah, it's really interesting, eggs and gas, but you know, if we were financially set, we wouldn't be worried about no egg prices or gas prices, right?
Exactly. There's a certain set of people that don't care how much the eggs cost, they're still gonna buy their eggs, right? And then there's the rest of us is like, oh my gosh, am I gonna get these eggs or buy this milk? I can't do both. There's a problem there. So there is a way that we can just start to do things a little bit differently and still not have to sacrifice, because sometimes we feel like we're working paycheck to paycheck and we have to make all these sacrifices just to put food on the table. And it's true, but there is a way to do it that's a little bit more efficient where over time we're able to just go ahead and buy them eggs and not be stressing about
Yeah, I know that's right. I'm on board.
it.
Team Lisa Money for sure. uh, what's the best advice ever given to you?
Best advice, stay ready so that you don't have to get ready.
Okay.
And just be passionate. Whatever it is that you're doing, like just have your passion show through because people resonate with that.
Yeah, for sure. You're like the fifth person I think that said stay ready so you won't have to be ready
Oh, really?
or get ready or whatever. Yeah,
Yeah.
that is too funny. Great minds think alike.
There you
Uh,
go.
so what's next for Leza Money, and what message would you like to give your patrons and up and coming entrepreneurs?
Well, what's next is just kind of just adding services for people under Next Level, and where we'll be talking about a course coming out in 2024.
Okay.
So a lot of times, we can talk about financial subjects, but without having like a blueprint and like step one,
Mm,
step two, step three, it kind of goes over. Most people says like, oh, that sounds good, but I don't know what to do. And
mm,
so building that out and building out a mentorship for 2024. And what I would just want my clients to know is that I'm not sitting on some cloud somewhere saying, oh, I'm a billionaire, gajillionaire, and you better do what I tell you to do. I'm a person that is in the trenches with you, have
right.
seen, been there, done that, still doing it, and working on not only my own finances, but just sharing what I know, because I know that my message can resonate with somebody out there. And so for my people, it's just whatever I'm learning, trust and believe. If I'm telling you to do it or I'm telling you this is what I suggest, it's because it's what I'm doing for myself and my family.
Mm. Spoken like a champ. I don't know. That's the word of the evening for sure. Well, thank you so much, Miss Leza Money. Make sure to subscribe, like, and comment to view all the episodes here at NNO 360. This is streaming live on YouTube, uh, Twitter, and Facebook. And I will upload this to the Apple Podcast, Spotify, and create a reel for Instagram because Instagram is special like that. Don't forget to purchase your tickets and or donate to the Unity for Justice social justice party and concert to free Monster Yo. The concert will be held on October 14th and 15th from 9 p.m. to 2 a.m. at Fountain LA 2889 West Olympic Boulevard, Los Angeles, California. Let's free Monster Yo. This has been a broadcast of showing love full circle between NNO 360 and Miss Leza Money.
Oh, thank you.
Hold tight, Queen. Thank you, everyone, for showing up, and have a wonderful evening.